Hello everybody, welcome to the Football Daily Weekly. Good to have you with us. Laurence is here.
Hey.
And Patrick is also here. The Football Daily's own Patrick McKemey.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
Nice one, pal. We are going to be talking about the 5 things we learned from the weekend's footballing action. Do journey with us as we begin. Barcelona are going to have to contend without Lionel Messi. Or Lionel Messi it is actually. Like Lionel Richie.
Like Lionel Blair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Similar
Lionel Blair.
footwork as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think this is for the age group.
Yeah.
Who
Who is
Very
Lionel
true.
Blair for this?
He's a
Just
tap-
for these guys?
He's a tap dancing guy sometimes on the One Show.
Yeah.
So ask your mum.
But I don't, I don't think Messi was named after him. But Messi got an injury.
That'd be good if
He
was.
got an
Yeah,
injury.
he did, yeah.
10 minutes in.
They did win the
Set
game.
another
though.
record for himself. Earliest substitution he's ever had.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, it was very early on in the game, wasn't it?
Okay.
His own.
record there. Yeah. More records for Messi.
It's not really a record if it's just
Well,
your
I mean,
own
it is a record.
personal best. I
It's,
think.
yeah, it was a PB. Yeah.
is how it would be described. But they
We'll
won
cut
the
that.
game because they've got other good players.
They have,
Luis
yes.
Suarez, namely.
He scored 2.
Neymar.
But I think it doesn't bode well for Barcelona if Neymar is going to keep missing the chances he did now Messi's out.
No,
You
he's
see,
cut
he
his hair.
missed it. Well, I don't know whether that's a direct result of the chances missed. However, I mean, he missed a penalty and it went well over. And he also missed another chance. I think Sandro missed a chance as well. So, but I think the real problem there is probably the defence, actually, because they haven't now, because they got the consolation goal, Jonathan Vieira for Las Palmas. They're not. They haven't kept a clean sheet for 5 games now. So I think the Messi thing is an issue, but I don't think it's the main issue at the moment.
Surely with Barcelona, though, I mean, obviously a team without Messi's much poorer, but they've got enough, Laurence. They've got enough. They're a wonderful side. They didn't win the treble just because of Messi. But as Patrick said, defence could be a problem because they were leaking goals at the start of the season. Or just before the start of the season. And Neymar, I mean, he missed a few against Celta Vigo. They conceded 4 last week as well.
They have had a tendency to concede quite a few in one game gluts, if you like. So you imagine, could that also be down to mentality partly for the back line?
Could it be?
The weird thing is we're focusing on individuals within a club that focuses very much on the system. And there was an interesting piece of analysis by Graham Hunter who said if you took Messi out of the same number of games he would be out for Barcelona last season, no result would change. Which is probably weird because
It's very hypothetical.
It's very hypothetical, but what he was essentially saying was that Messi's direct influence, which was goals and assists and those kind of things, wouldn't be missed in the same way. But you would say it's going to change Barcelona's system because they don't have such a talented player in there. You'd imagine Rakitic will probably play more of an influential role now for
Well, he'll
Barca.
go up a little bit further.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I firmly disagree with that, gentleman. Rakitic is not going to be in the front 3, sure.
No, but what I'm saying is it'll change because Messi would drop, or some more players will drop, so it'll bring Luis Suarez possibly further back, and maybe one midfielder slightly further forward. Not all the way, but I'd say it go slightly further forward.
And also they played a solid 3 behind the front 3 as well, didn't they? They had Busquets, Rakitic, and who was it? The other one, sorry.
You can interchange that with
Mascherano. Sorry. Yeah, so those 3 started against Las Palmas. So they've got sort of still a robust midfield behind the front 3. I also think Mooney did very well when he came on. He was involved in both goals. So I think they've obviously. But there was also a comment that the academy players coming through from Barcelona aren't up to Barcelona's scratch. Would you agree with that?
I mean, that's kind of been they partly had that criticism. A lot of their players for a couple of years. I mean, even people were questioning when Pedro first came through. They're saying he's a great talent, but is he good enough for Barca?
Yeah.
And now you sort of think,
No, they sold him.
yeah, he'd look. Yeah, but now you sort of think, well, he'd look pretty good. Now
But
Messi's out.
Well, he was there scoring in a Champions League final, of course, and so on. I think what you say, Laurence, is right with about the system of Barcelona. It isn't just bung a load of individuals. There's something bigger going on from the lowest of youth teams to the first team. They are trained in the same kind of way. You know, people said about Manchester United, other likes of Johnny Evans or John O'Shea and so on and so forth.
It's almost people have an arbitrary idea of what Manchester
because
United or Barcelona
they're not the class
is,
of '92, and indeed they weren't, but they still won trophies with Manchester United.
Yes,
players. Manchester went red again. Oh, they're top of the league, aren't they? Manchester United. They didn't start too well in terms of performance and the amount of goals being scored, but now they look like they could challenge Laurence.
Yeah, don't maybe look at the league table until 10 games in. But isn't like 2 years since United have been top of the table?
It feels it.
Yeah, it certainly does.
It feels it, yeah.
I'm not sure about the intricacies of that, but it certainly feels a long time since a side like this actually took themselves to the top of the league, and you thought, hang on.
Weird instant influence from Martial. The problem was before, a lot of people saying we don't know what his influence was going to be, and that was getting mixed in with the voices that were saying he won't have any influence. There's a big difference between the two. I didn't know what he'd be like in the Premier League because we've seen a lot of players not being able to transition, especially at such a young age. But he's transitioned very well. It's fair to say it's still fairly early on. He didn't get a goal at the weekend, but his influence and the assist for Wayne Rooney was fantastic. I actually think Matu is man of the match, but Martial would equal him. That's being pedantic, but it still makes a point. And the whole team movement looked better, also not only because of Martial, but also because of the way their defence was built and then the midfield positioning of everyone else. And I think that really allowed them to move forward. And you'd say, if Manchester's red, that's what they got right, that Man City got wrong on the weekend. The structure of the team.
I think the result.
I think
it was wrong as well for Man City, wasn't it?
That's the basics. I think also it's clear to see Manchester, they've got goals all over the pitch. And Depay's scoring, Mata's scoring, Martial's can score, Rooney's scoring again. So they've got, and if they've those guys can get 10 goals each. Do you know what I mean? They'll be very at the very least. It looks like Martial's going to walk 10 goals. And also and so the question we always Manchester United was the defence. They're kind of have they got the defence? But they've got one of the best records in the league so far. Have they been tested yet? They certainly will be at the Emirates, I think. But we'll see. But I think they certainly look a very good bet for top 4 at the moment, at the very least.
Louis van Gaal had a great record against the top sides last season. So let's see if they are tested in the same way.
That is the thing. It's the mini league, isn't it? Louis van Gaal's his expertise is. So it certainly does bode well for the weekend.
Yeah, it's also interesting to look at the way that Sunderland did. I still think Sunderland had a couple of attacks where you think, you know what, they should have done something there. And even if they'd still lost the game, there would still be there's signs of life. And that's good for Sunderland. But it's worrying for Manchester United. I know that every game ebbs and flows, but still, Sunderland were managing to get at that back line every now and again.
I mean, how are we looking at Manchester United? They have gone top of the league, and you're right, Laurence, it's only 6 or so games in, and that was only Sunderland at home who have been desperately poor.
Ask me if they'll do well at the end of the season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll do well at the end of the season? Do you think, with Manchester United, they lost away in the Champions League to PSV. Any away game in the Champions League is difficult, I grant you. But it does seem that actually now that there seems to be more of a clicking sound, perhaps coming from Old Trafford. Martial has been quite superb since he's joined. A good win away to Southampton and so on. Do you think this is coming together for Manchester United, or do you think it's still early, too hard to tell at this stage?
I agree it is a bit early, but I think, like Laurence says, I think against the top teams, Louis van Gaal come into his own, and also the knockout stages, if they get there in the Champions League, it'll be very, very interesting, those two-legged ties and things with Louis van Gaal. I think that's where we'll see the best of him and his tactics.
Serie A has been blasted wide open.
Right, these hysterical titles.
I know,
blasted. But it is quite sensational.
Old lady beaten!
Yeah, the old lady.
The old lady was beaten this weekend.
That is the Juventus nickname before you think we're going to deliver a harrowing news story.
It's not Crime Watch.
It isn't Crime Watch.
Yet.
But maybe one day. They lost
one
again.
Of three faces.
They lost away to Napoli, which is no disgrace.
Yes, Napoli are good this season.
But they've been dropping points, hemorrhaging points at home. They drew with Frizione or whatever.
Is it Frigione?
Frigione.
I don't know if that is. Yeah.
A newly promoted side.
I'm not Italian.
They dropped points at home, which is very poor. This is a side that nearly did the treble last year.
They did, but they lost two of the players who were instrumental to that treble. For example, Tevez and Vidal. Also, as the
Pirlo as well.
The hysterical title would suggest that it is a lot more wide open. They got beaten by Napoli, who are 9th. But they've just come off the back. They beat Lazio 5-0. They beat Club Brugge 5-0. One of the reasons is they've hung on to Higuain, which is really interesting.
Hamsik in there as well.
Exactly. Hamsik also sort of they just missed out on the Champions League last year. Fiorentina have just beaten Inter Milan away,
and now they believe they can win.
Sussudio as well. They're 4th.
Sussudio. Again, a very old reference.
Yes, I know. Ask your mum again. After you've watched this, have a cup of tea with your mum. Watch it with your mum.
You drink tea,
as any good football show should be.
And Roma look a bit better as well. So it's just what I'm saying is there's a lot of. It's not going to be the same story as it's been for the last 4 years in Serie A. It's getting a lot more interesting
because I was enjoying that utter domination of the league.
You just knew where to stand. Fiorentina top for the first time since 1999.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, older viewers may remember the Fiorentina sides involving Gabriel Batistuta and Rui Costa and so on and so forth.
If not the actual year that was done.
You may or may not remember the late 90s. I certainly do, but
I don't. It was hedonistic in my high school.
Yeah, that's a bad advert for
Primary
alcohol
school
abuse.
Yeah.
But,
especially in year 6.
but what about what are we thinking of Serie A? Because it is early days. When talking about Manchester United, well, let's not go over the top. But Juventus have started appallingly.
Yes,
if you think Chelsea have had a bit of a poor start, this is actually much worse.
But they're both in the same position, aren't they? 15th-ish kind of thing. So I think, but Chelsea haven't lost 2 talisman or 3 talismans, or certainly at once. They've just kind of. That's a different story.
They just capitulated. Yeah.
But it shouldn't be that bad for Juventus. I mean, they have signed 1 or 2 players.
And Mandzukic, yes, exactly. They have brought players in.
Exactly, good quality players. What about Milan themselves? They've got Balotelli back. He scored a beautiful goal. They lost on the weekend, but they look. You can see the young man is trying to inspire that side a bit more, and they certainly seem pleased to have him back.
Yeah. Weirdly, because they were so happy to see him go. Things really swing in Italy, don't they?
Well, in football.
Yeah, in football, yeah. And Berlusconi. And, lots of things sort of swing from side to side for him. Especially when it comes to Milan, there's still an incredible amount of doubt. It's not that solid side that they, there are preconceptions we have of what Milan should be, and I think Milan still hold those themselves.
Yes.
And for that reason, I think...
But it's gone too many years now, hasn't it, for people to kind of hark on about Milan. Unfortunately, the status quo has been disrupted so much.
Thankfully. Yeah, because it was almost getting it wasn't boring in Italy, but it certainly wasn't marketable.
Whilst Inter Milan lost 4-1, a harrowing 4-1 home defeat, it's safe to say they'll finish above 8th, which they did last season, which lends to suggest they'll be more competitive this year as well. As both
they are equal top of the table with the people who beat them.
Well, there you go.
With the people.
So it's a real 6-pointer.
They are humans. All 15 points top of the table, 10 points off where they are right now. And Roma and Lazio are keeping up with them, 11 and 12 points, I think, respectively. And all of them are. What is interesting is the diversity of formations in Serie A as well. Back threes, back fours behind threes, and then ones, and they're really
4s and 3s. And
it's
2s and
all
1s.
the numbers that you'd want to be in a formation are being used.
You are right, Laurence. Different formations in Serie A. Jose Mourinho said that when he was talking about his time in Italy, that every game was like a game of chess in Italy almost. You could never really. It was hard to second guess the manager, whereas in England a little bit more straightforward. Although he did say in Spain that there were some games that you just knew you were going to win. Whereas he does say in England every game was contested, but to the point about the tactical formations in Italy was very much there. But it's often been like that Serie A.
Yeah, which I really like. But people sort of look down on it as a league sometimes.
Because the best players don't often flood there, or flock there rather. They used to. They go to Spain or England as well, where the money is. But
Interesting though, you said so. I mean, Higuain stayed at Napoli though, because a lot of teams in England are sort of so. Well, I mean, I said on this show, Arsenal should buy him, but the thing is, I think
a lot of people said that.
I think, and as I said, Napoli are 9th, so they're not up there. But the thing is, Higuain's been banging them in. And because it's Serie A, I don't think people don't respect the sort of same sort of. They don't get the same amount of goal tallies, do they? But I think perhaps his reputation has been tainted by missing massive chances in huge finals. However, he does score a lot of goals.
That's very true.
Yeah, he was great for Madrid as well.
Some of the big guns are firing again, ladies and gentlemen. Harry Kane opened his account in the Premier League this season. Wayne Rooney got on the score sheet, and Alexis Sanchez scored a hat-trick.
Daniel Sturridge
got a brace as well.
He got 2 actually. 2 really well taken goals.
He got a brace.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying he got really 2 well taken goals.
A brace.
Yeah, I think that was his teen years actually. Yeah.
Alexis Sanchez, the first man to score a hat-trick in Serie A, La Liga, and the Premier League.
Extraordinary.
Nice
and he's
stat,
valued in all 3 leagues as well.
How's about that?
Isn't that lovely?
Incredible stuff.
Yeah.
What do we think? Harry Kane, Spurs fans, obviously a wonderful win against Manchester City. They've suddenly picked up, haven't they?
It felt kind of inevitable till we started scoring. He'd already been scoring for England. I think he got a couple for England as well. And he works so hard as well. And he's been trying to make a lot of goals as well. So it was. I like to think it was inevitable he's going to start scoring. Does this mean the floodgates are open and he's going to have the same season as he did last season? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a harder job. A difficult second album, if you will, but I think he will score.
Is because people are aware of him? They know they would. They have.
You learn how to play against players like that after they have an explosive first season. The talent's there. It's not saying he's a one-hit season wonder. He's not. The talent's there. I mean, he's gifted on the ball and his size and all that sort of thing. We're saying he's a great potential to partner Sturridge for England. He will. I think he'll score. He'll start scoring a few goals. Yeah.
Daniel Sturridge is a welcome sight for Liverpool fans.
Certainly so.
And proved it with just 2 lovely goals.
Yeah. really well taken, technically fantastic.
They've missed that so much.
Yes, but at the same time, Liverpool will taper that by saying you can't rely on that because of the injuries, those kind of. There's always a nervousness around Anfield around those kind of things at the moment. It's still great to see him back. Changes the movement up front, and great to see him combining with Ings, Milner, and Coutinho so well. So lots of positives there for Liverpool.
Yeah, there was played fluid, quite a very fluid way for the first time in a while. I thought. Easy on the eye,
but still not easy enough, and sometimes easy on the eye for someone like Gested, who also scored 2 this weekend himself. The big guns are all back.
Yeah.
But that would be the interesting thing there for Liverpool. They still conceded 2, despite the fact that Daniel Sturridge scored, and Danny Ings has had not a bad season. I think this is the season of strikers where. We've seen Vardy score, for instance. Vardy scored some great goals this weekend. We've seen a lot of strikers scoring different kinds of goals this season. It's not just been a sort of very typical kind of play, whereas last season it was quite different, wasn't it?
And Rooney scored as well for Manchester United. Do you think he should be played right up top? Because personally, I don't like seeing Rooney with his back to goal so much. He's the type of player, in the age of 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, whatever you want to call it, one up front.
Yeah.
He's not really that player. He's
anymore. I think he has. I think his body's changed. I think he has to come back in a little bit more and be involved in build-up.
A few years ago, when it was 4-4-2, and you often have your Shearer and Sheringham, one slightly forward, indeed, one forward, slightly further forward than the other. Rooney would be that support striker, which we've seen him do many times
number
before.
10 kind of thing, do you think?
Not quite, actually. A little bit further forward than number 10. Slightly less influential than a number 10.
Yeah, it's slightly different, as you say, Laurence. So do you think that's all
No,
right?
no,
but a lot of people would
questions there to be asked because he does wear number 10.
Yeah, because a Raquelme for me would be a number 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
he's got some real people who set the pace behind him for United, though, hasn't he?
He does. Do you think Rooney should become a number 10, actually drop in there? Or do you think he should... I mean, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, I suppose.
Well, but the thing is with Wayne Rooney, people say he's quite adaptable, whatever. I just don't know if number 10 is the position he should play for Manchester United.
Where do you think he should play then for Manchester United?
I think where he is right now is quite nice. Which is sort of, like you say, a support striker, but a support striker within a system which doesn't necessarily always have a support striker. So it's an adaptation that Louis van Gaal has made specifically for Wayne.
Real Madrid drew 0-0 with Malaga in La Liga. The first time in 56 games they've failed to score at home. Not even the great Ronaldo could score. And he got 5 not that long ago in one game.
Goalkeeper with a fantastic performance though. 63% possession they had, 24 shots, 8 saves for the opposition goalkeeper. Just to run down some of the stats there.
These things happen, don't they?
Yeah, but it's the problem would be that, we're looking for narrative, we draw the lines. It's a very, very Benitez-esque performance is what people would say.
They got the clean sheet.
They got the clean sheet. Malaga also haven't been conceding a lot this season. And let's also say that people love a good storyline of, can he get the best out of Ronaldo? I don't think so, despite the fact he scored a shit ton of goals in a load of other games and has been playing a number of people in great positions. I didn't think he'd get the best out of Bale, but he did for a little while. So,
can Rafa Benitez's wife get the best out of Rafa Benitez?
Well, the interesting, Hamsik came out...
According to Mourinho, maybe not.
Well, Hamsik came out, he's formerly, when he was at Napoli, and has criticised Benitez's tactics. So I don't know whether this just translated on, as you say, this media narrative waiting to sort of create a rift between Benitez and Ronaldo.
Anyone. I mean, they tried earlier on in the season.
I just think we should just get used to the idea that it's normal for Ronaldo not to score sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's more reflective of just it's a crisis when
you did have the stuff that Steven Gerrard said in his autobiography, which is being serialised at the moment.
Steven Gerrard said a lot of things in autobiography.
He said they weren't close. He didn't say...
He said he was quite a cold man.
Yeah.
But it just, again, feeds into the point that Rafa Benitez is quite a pariah type figure. Is he a little bit of an outcast, so on and so forth. But whereas actually, he's a very good coach.
He is a very good coach, and you also say that then what he does understand about that is his temperament maybe with the players isn't fantastic, so he needs someone else who will have a good temperament. And at Liverpool, that was Paco, his second name escapes me. And he has other people in his coaching staff there who will be warm. So it's not necessarily its criticism, it's more of an analysis. But the media see it as, he's not warm, he's not a human. That also allows them a position to then go, this not so human figure will outcast him a little bit. He's a fat waiter, he's this. If you make him abstract concepts, it makes it much easier to go. Yeah, and you go, isn't he funny? Look at the little man with his glasses, and they start to make fun of him, and it makes it so much easier. And in England, you'd say so many of these headlines come from England, not from Spain, not from other places. They come from the media who are going, wait for it.
But I think he wouldn't have been so successful as he was in such a short time at Chelsea if he wasn't such a remote figure, because he went into a firestorm there from his own side and from the own fans, and perhaps that element of distance that he has meant he could get a third place and win a trophy and walk away, just as I've done my job now, see you later.
For such a cold man, he was very emotional when he returned to Madrid. One of the few people that we saw, kind of one of the few big figures that we saw visibly shook at the justice for the 96.
Yeah,
ceremonies.
he was like filmed crying.
Crying.
Yeah.
And you sort of think, well, for such a cold person, in inverted commas, that's an awfully public way to be cold,
We've
isn't
seen
it?
people be cold in managerial styles as well. I mean, Andrea Pirlo, the way he talks about Antonio Conte in his autobiography, he clearly loves him, but he says, my goodness, he's harsh and firm and very, very cold as well. But yet Conte had phenomenal success with Juventus.
Yeah, but you also, and for that reason, you also think, you know what? Maybe there's an air of professionalism about him that maybe.
Well, it's just different styles, and some people like that, and some people don't. I mean.
So is this the best thing for Ronaldo? I suppose is the point. This kind of manager.
Possibly, because you know what, Real are quite, they're not a warm club. They're a sort of very official kind of like. We'll have a nice photo opportunity here, but then you won't see Florentino Perez until the next photo opportunity. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you very much for watching the Football Daily Weekly, everybody. It's a pleasure to have been talking with you, or at you, depending on how you look at it. Laurence, lovely as always.
Thanks for talking at me.
Patrick, God bless you. Leave your comments below.
Oh, he's so sweet.
Get involved in the chat, and we'll see you very, very soon.